What's good, y'all? So today I'm gonna talk to y'all about exactly how to use the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. And so what this law states is that every one of us, each person has the power within them to change their conditions and their state of their life. And so I'm gonna talk to you about how to use it. So when you understand this law, it's like nothing in your life can stay stagnant, and you will instantly know how to change the state that you're in and the conditions that are around you. Remember, your conditions, your outer world is nothing but a reflection of what's going on the inner, which is the law of correspondence. But before the law of correspondence, you have the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, because that is how you get into that's how you create the conditions in your life. And so the first thing you have to do is analyze your current situation. And you do that by looking around you. You look around, you look at the people that are in your lives, you look at the conditions that are in your life, and you need to take full responsibility for this. So when I say the word responsibility, I'm not talking about saying something is my fault, right? No, what I mean when I say taking responsibility, what I'm saying is you need to have the ability to respond creatively to your current situation. And so when you do that with what you have in your life, now what you're doing is you're starting to create a different state in your mind. So you have to first be responsible for the current conditions in your life. When you do that, a good way to do that is to get a piece of paper, get a pen, and start writing down everything that you have in your life, all of the people that are in your life, where you live, the kind of car you drive, the kind of clothes you wear, all of the materialistic things, because the materialistic things are the conditions that you've created in your life, including the psychological things, right? And when you do this, you say, okay, this is what I'm currently worth. Everything that you have in your life, materialistic, spiritual, psychological, whatever, relationships, this is what you think you are worth. And so to activate the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, you need to reestablish your self-worth, right? So you need to have a talk with yourself. You need to either look in the mirror or get a pen and the pad out and restate what you are worth, what you now think you're worth. If you don't feel like you're worth where you are right now, you need to simply say, I am not worth this no more. I am now worth this. You see what I'm saying? And just by using those words and creating a belief in your mind, you activate the law of perpetual transmutation, which stands for you having the ability to change whatever conditions that are in your life. You need to start out by changing your self-worth. You change your self-worth by acknowledging what you are currently worthy of, and then restating what you now believe yourself to be worthy of. These things can be anything in your life. It can be where you live, the kind of car you drive, the kind of clothes you wear, the kind of fragrance you wear when you go out, the kind of people who are around you. I am not worthy of these people who are currently in my life. I am worthy of these kind of people. You see what I'm saying? And when you tell yourself that you are now worthy of being around a certain kind of people, you have just activated the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. And so now your outer world will start to reflect what you have just reestablished internally. You see what I'm saying? It leads me to another topic that I want to scrape over right now, and it's internal dialogue. Your internal dialogue. Listen, when I say internal, I mean inside. When I say dialogue, I mean conversation or speech. So the conversation that you're having within yourself on the inside will greatly determine the state that you live in, the mental state that you live in, which greatly determines circumstances that you live in, the circumstances that you have, the conditions that you have, right? So you want to be fully conscious and fully aware of your internal dialogue. When you wake up, what are you saying to yourself? When you are living unconsciously, what are you talking to? See, listen, everybody's always talking to themselves, right? So you thinking, oh, I don't talk to myself. You're not exempt from this. Everyone talks to themselves 24/7. Everybody has this voice in their inside of them, in their mind, that's constantly talking to them about conversations they had in the past, conversations that they're anticipating in the future, or different things that they don't like, different things that they wish were different, right? So we're always having this conversation in our minds, and this conversation can sometimes run all day without you even being consciously aware of it running. So what you need to do is take note of this. When you hear that voice running in your mind, say, hey, I don't want to think that, or let me talk to myself better. Your internal dialogue is crucial. This will greatly determine what happens in your outer world. And day by day, when you start to become fully aware of your internal dialogue, you will start to see that your outer world has been reflecting or matching what you've been talking to yourself about. I promise to God, when you start to become aware of this, you're gonna say, dang, this whole time I've been bringing about what my conditions are because of what I say to myself when I wake up, what I say to myself when I get around people in public and I'm talking and I'm quiet, I'm not talking, but I'm talking to myself, what I say to myself before I go to sleep. You see what I'm saying? So become fully aware and fully conscious of what you're saying to yourself throughout the whole entire day. A good way to do this is to ask yourself, what will I think next? Or I wonder what I'll think about next. And when you ask yourself this question internally or even out loud, what it forces you to do is to enter a now moment where now you have to be fully aware of what's going on in your mind in the conversation or that little voice that's running. Now you can watch it, you can listen to it. If you ask yourself, I wonder what I would think about next, then you're forced to sit and wait patiently on that voice to come in. You see what I'm saying? And for a lot of people, a lot of us, that voice is ran subconsciously. It's been put into our minds. We've impressed our mind with negative thoughts, self-doubt, and negative self-criticism, and all these things. That way now our mind is just running on autopilot, and now it's feeding us in our bodies negative states to live in. So all of these things that I'm talking about is how you can activate the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. You want to activate the law of perpetual transmutation of energy so that you can be able to immediately change the conditions in your life. When you do this, you will start to see that there's little resistance between you and your desires. Even when it comes to relationships, when it comes to new job opportunities, when it comes to being in the right place at the right time, when it comes to avoiding negative situations. You see what I'm saying? Like, this applies to everything. You'll start to see that you don't have to try as hard because you're working with a universal law, a universal principle that's already being in place. Whether you activate it or not, it's already activating every single time. You can be happy one day and then boom, you can change your state within, and then now you have a bad week for the rest of the week. But it's all because you've activated the law of perpetual transmutation of energy the wrong way. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm bringing light to this topic because it's really important. I really feel like each and every one of us needs to be thinking about this all the time. And the more you think about it, it becomes a habit. It becomes a thought pattern that you have. You're like, okay, cool. I know about this universal. It's like we all know about gravity. We don't have to think about gravity, right? I know if I jump over this thing right here, some invisible universal law, principle, is gonna pull me down, and I'm gonna either break my legs or probably die. You see what I'm saying? And so I don't have to think about that now. It's automatically, I've impressed my subconscious mind with the thought of that and how the principle and how the law works. Well, if you do the same thing with, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, then you can always change the conditions in your life, but at will. You see what I'm saying? And so always keep in mind that you want to Be fully in control of your self-worth. All of the conditions in your life come from what you believe you are worthy of. Change your self-worth by getting a pen and a pad and writing them down. I am worth this. I am worth this. I am worth that. You change it. Now you create a new internal dialogue for you to make your subconscious mind can operate off of new principles now, new conversation now. You see what I'm saying? And everything else is gonna reflect. But it's not gonna happen overnight because you didn't use the law of perpetual transmutation overnight, the wrong way. When you're using it the right way, it ain't gonna happen overnight as well either. You see what I'm saying? It comes through habit pattern.